Hi guys, good evening, and I welcome you all to today's price action video. This is the price action analysis of the 4th of March 2022. Wasn't it a very volatile day today? One of the most volatile days in the recent past. You can see here that from the open, the price fell 230 points in Nifty, and from there it shot up to the high nearly 320 points. Such volatile moves in Nifty. Nowadays markets are very volatile and it is to be expected given the global news. Okay, so for starters, let's start with the first candle as usual. The first candle is a very large red candle. It's a deep bleeding red candle, and such candles are always indicative of extremely strong selling strength. Let's start analyzing from the open. So the gap here was around 75 to 76 points, and the gap was eventually filled here, but initially what happened was it was a big gap down. So whenever there's a big gap down and such a large candle, let's measure the candle in terms of points here. See, the first candle itself was 114 points. Now whenever there's a 114 point candle, it means there's a basket order that has been placed by foreign institutions. The day opens with a big red candle, and then price tends to keep falling from the open of the day and makes a big fall like this. We already had all these levels marked here, so this was the demand zone, and it was also a gap that was remaining to be filled. So the gap was also filled and price reacted exactly as we had expected right from the demand zone itself. And here what happened was, when price was pushed down by the sellers in the first candle, and then you could see some consolidation here, and then price was pushed down even more by the sellers, the buyers could not sustain. But here there was a demand zone, so a limit order by some big players were waiting at that level. And since these levels are historically given to us by the market, it is important to mark these levels so that we know exactly from where price is going to bounce. So now let's see what happened here. After the first candle, you can see the pivot here, and at this pivot itself price took some support initially, and then with this candle here it broke down from that pivot. That was the 10-10 candle. After the 10-10 candle, it went here, it hit the demand zone, gave a small bounce, then again sellers tried to push it further, but then it made a base here, and then you all know what happened in the rest of the day. Now here again you can see that around the same pivot it kind of tried to act as a resistance because sellers were active in that region. You're already seeing sellers and buyers fight here, so no wonder at the same region again when price came from the bottom there was a fight between buyers and sellers, and then here the price was pushed up. Here the sellers had won, but on the way up the buying strength was so much that the buyers won. And you can see all these candles, these are very strong green candles. So you can see this candle also, which broke the pivot here, the daily pivot. So now you can see here that whenever the day starts with or opens with a big red candle, you should always keep the high of that candle ready. Why? Because there are a lot of sellers there. So what is this? What is this particular place? It is a supply zone. Why supply zone? Because a lot of sellers are sitting in that area and they are trying to push the price down aggressively. So once that supply zone is broken, sellers are running for cover and they are panicking because the price was pushed down from the day's low up to here, and then here it was where the price opened. So you know that within this entire zone there are a lot of strong sellers sitting, and you already saw the way yesterday sold off. So nowadays there is a daily sell-off and a huge selling pressure from FIIs. That's why whenever the market opens, a lot of people are of the opinion that you should sell calls, and after you sell calls you should blindly sit and wait the entire day, and then you should just collect all the theta decay because you can just simply sit there and side with the FIIs. But that is not the kind of trading that I want you to learn. I want you to learn from me the kind of trading that is not gambling. You should know that there is a demand zone at the bottom. So shorting anywhere in this area is not a very good idea. Anyways, shorting with this first candle is not a good idea. Where would you keep your SL? Where is the place where you would have kept your SL? Would you short here? If you short this candle low, would you keep your SL here? Would you have a 100-point SL in Nifty? It is not a right idea to have a 100-point SL in Nifty. Okay, because you know now that you can see all these candles here. See all these wicks on the top. Why are these wicks present? Yes, these are sellers wicks, but why are they present? Because buyers were trying to push the price up right from here, because buyers were trying to get support right at this daily pivot, and they were trying to push the price up, but they were unable to. So all these wicks, yes, they now after the candle forms, they suggest that these wicks are sellers wicks. But why do they form? Because in the first place buyers were able to push the price up. So now here what happens is, with such huge selling candles and the first selling candle, and after this huge sell-off, there are a lot of sellers sitting exactly in this entire zone and also in this entire zone. And so what happens here is, whenever price starts to take a bounce in this area, the sellers start to panic. Now there must have been a huge buy order waiting at this position, at this location, and so this price bounced from there so aggressively. And then when it went to the PDL, you can see that the previous day low acted as a strong resistance. This is what I keep telling you always. See, now you will ask me whether it was a good idea to go long once this high was broken. Why? Because this is a supply zone, as we just talked about. So let's write down here that this area here is a supply zone. So this was if you are trading on this demand supply concept, then this particular candle becomes the breakout candle. But then you can see the wick on the top here. See the large wick on the top. It did not really show us that there was a breakout here. Okay, and it was actually this particular candle that gave a breakout. So let's see which candle it is. It is the 1:20 p.m. candle. So that was the candle that gave a breakout. But we have an immediate strong resistance here. Why is this a strong resistance? Because of yesterday. See, this was a huge fall yesterday. So who are sitting in this area, in this entire zone here? Who are sitting? Sellers are sitting, and they are not going to allow the price to take out their stop losses, or they are not going to allow the buyers to reduce their profits. So they are going to defend their positions very aggressively, and that is exactly what we saw here. So the reason why we see all these wicks here on the top and then a straight push down is because of the sellers sitting on the top here. Usually after a big sell-off on one day, I have always told you that whenever there is a trending day, then the next day you will see a sideways day, a range bound day. But today the buyers, because of the demand zone here, were very strong, and so they were aggressively pushing the price up, and so sellers were getting panicky about it, and so they came down even more aggressively during the later half of the day. So from around 1 p.m. or we would say that 1:30 p.m. the sellers became active again. So this was literally a tennis match kind of a day today between buyers and sellers, and you can see how price action itself tells us and defines everything for us. It completely defines the game for us. This is not a tradable candle. This is not a tradable candle because of the wick on the top. This is a tradable candle, yes, but then going long there is not a good idea because you have a strong resistance on top. So that is the reason why you should not have taken any trade today on such kind of a day. Such days are very volatile and very choppy days, but it was not a very unpredictable price action today. See, we had marked this area, isn't it? We already marked this area. Now what was this area? See here, we can see that it was a demand zone here. you can see that there was a big demand zone there. What was that day? That was the 28th of February, and price opened today exactly within that demand zone. And what have I told you? When price opens below a demand zone, the demand zone becomes a resistance. So this formula, always remember it. And whenever there is a supply zone, a strong supply zone, and price comes from the top, it will act as a strong support on that day. So this is exactly what we saw today. Then you again saw price action around this area here. And so you can see this area, how busy that area was today in the entire price action of today's intraday. You can see how busy that area was. So no real surprises here once you are a price action trader. Let's see Bank Nifty here just to compare the two. See here, Bank Nifty also opened with this big red candle. Now let me just open the Bank Nifty screen alone and I'll just explain these things to you. Then we will compare both Bank Nifty and Nifty. Okay, here it was again the same red candle, kind of red candle that was in Nifty, and it was a very strong red candle. Again, it opened exactly at a level or within a zone that we had marked. I told you yesterday that that zone should be marked, and exactly within that level the candle opens. Then it takes support exactly at the demand zone. It gives a slight bounce here. Then sellers again come back aggressively. Here they break the demand zone, try to break the demand zone. They push the price further down, but they cannot. And then you can see these wicks on the bottom. So price again shoots. Again the sellers come back. They try to push the price down, but around the S2 pivot here, the price tries to make a base and takes a support from there. And then again it is broken. Again within this area, you can see the kind of price action that is required to break a particular level. And why? Because this level will now be acting as a resistance when price comes from the bottom. So see here, the area was acting as a support. So let's write support here. Then this support was broken. Here around this area, it was still not convincingly broken, but here you could see that the sellers had pushed the price down. And then from here, around the S2 pivot, not exactly at, but around the S2 pivot, price again made a base, pushed up. Again here it acted as a resistance. So you see now why those boxes are important, why I tell you to mark boxes. And then from here it made a base, kind of spent some time here, and then there was a massive short covering. So the price entered the previous day range here with this particular candle. What was that candle? 12:50 p.m. candle. Once the price broke into that area, all the stop losses that were here from yesterday's selling started to get triggered. But then in spite of that stop loss triggering, was it a good idea to go long? See what is here. There is the CPR, a kind of a wide CPR, not a very wide one, but a wide CPR. So it was definitely not a good idea to go long in Bank Nifty either. And then of course Bank Nifty took resistance exactly at the bottom CPR, and then you all saw how Bank Nifty fell and it came near the demand zone again and the day closed. So you can see again here the kind of price action is so similar between Nifty and Bank Nifty. Let's just compare these two now. See, look at this candle. When the previous day low was broken here in Bank Nifty, that was a previous day low which was now today acting as a resistance because price had come from the bottom. So price had come from the bottom here, it approached from the bottom. So what is this going to be? This is going to be a resistance, not a support. If it had opened somewhere inside, then this would have been a support here and then price might have bounced from here. But since that was not to be, it was a resistance. And then the 12:50 p.m. candle broke out of it. This was the 12:50 p.m. candle in Nifty. So you can see here the 12:50 p.m. candle was this, and this was still within the current day's range. So this was the current day's high today. So this was the range high today. Okay, that was still within the current day's range. So it was definitely not a good idea to go long in Bank Nifty. And you could see that this was a wick here, and we just discussed that this wick being there, you could see that in Nifty it was a 1:20 p.m. candle that was technically the breakout candle. because this particular candle wasn't a strong candle. So this candle becomes the breakout candle. But by then we have a strong resistance here, which is the previous day low, and we also have a strong resistance here in Bank Nifty, which was the bottom CPR. So in spite of a big rally today, there was no entry as per my strategies, and still I am not suffering from any sort of emotion. I'm not feeling bad. If you have seen my yesterday's video, I have shown you how I took a stop loss yesterday. In spite of the fact that my vision was right, my speculation was right, and in spite of the fact that I saw in front of my eyes the call option I had sold had become zero by the end of the expiry. But in spite of that, I did not go to the market today with a revengeful attitude, and I did not go in to cover my losses of yesterday. I did not want to take any revenge from the market. I just went in blindly and I just sat there in front of the market. I waited for any of my strategies to be triggered, but none of my strategies were triggered today, and so I have taken no entry today, and still I am absolutely calm about it. So that is the way you should be looking to trade every day, as like a machine, emotionless. Okay, so having said that, let's start to analyze Bank Nifty price action for Monday. Let's just delete these levels here. We don't need them. Since price has already broken those levels, we will see which levels need to be deleted. You will ask me if this is a virgin CPR for the next day, and it's a good question. Yes, we will be marking that as a virgin CPR. You can see that there is a very tiny body of the green candle inside it, but you can ignore that. This CPR will still act as a powerful resistance or support wherever price approaches it from for the next trading session. So it's best that you don't take trades within those ranges of the CPR. That will be the virgin CPR for Monday, 7th of March. And we can see here that price has broken the level here. That is the current day high opening range. It has broken here, but now you can see that it was broken again at around 12:50 p.m. and then at around 14:35, that is 2:35 p.m. it was broken again. So don't bother marking that level now. And yes, the previous day high, that is today's high, will be a strong supply zone. It is within the virgin CPR, but let's mark it nonetheless, because then we know that the virgin CPR is that much stronger. It is more fortified, and the current day low will be, that is today's low, will act as a strong demand zone. And I think that should be all for the levels in Bank Nifty. No particular important levels. Otherwise, if there are any other levels, I will update them on Twitter. So let's head over to Nifty now, and let's see what kind of price action levels that we get for the Monday trading session depending on today's price action. Let's just delete these boxes here. No need for these boxes. See, the demand zone here will continue. It's just that we will change the borders here. Okay, so let's just change the borders as per today's price action. So we can mark this here, and we can actually delete this box, but we can mark a zone here. So you can keep this level ready like this. You can mark a zone like this. That becomes the demand zone. You have seen the importance of boxes in today's trading session. And there is no gap today, although we saw Nifty opened gap down, but the gap is filled, so there is no necessity to mark that gap. This supply zone will need to be extended, and we also have a virgin CPR in Nifty for Monday, so we'll just mark that area. So this entire area will act as a resistance, and of course the PDH will act as a strong supply zone also. You can mark the PDL like this. That will be the important level. So PDH and PDL are going to be very important levels going forward. So keep an eye out for all those levels. I will post these levels on Twitter, and you can copy down those levels on your charts. So I think that should be it for today's price action video. I hope you're liking all these videos. I hope they are helping you in your trading career and trading decisions. If you have liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and also hit the bell icon so you're notified each time I post a new video. And please comment in the comment section below and let me know how you're finding these videos. and also let me know how your trading career is going. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day ahead. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.